Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the two Dum Yinzers. This is episode 138. What's going on, Big Mike?
Oh, I'm just vibing. Just vibing.
Friday, man. It's Friday. You gotta like that.
Yes. You know, second best day of the week.
Second.
Best day of the week. Hump
What's
day.
What's the first best day of the week, man?
Hump day. Hump day. Just because every once in a while someone will still come up to me and go, Mike, what day is it? And I get to go, hump day. I am in an exuberant mood right now.
Yeah. Did you work last night, man?
I did. I survived. That's all I'm going to say.
Good shit, man.
Like,
one day closer, baby.
One day closer. My Forrest Whitaker eyes are looking pretty good today. They're both kind of open right now, so I'm doing good.
Yesterday's show went really well, man. We had a pretty good interview.
Yes.
Nirvana came on, talked to her. She's very, very talented, man.
Yes.
I just couldn't believe the amount of things that she does
and
does well.
Yes, and the energy she has. Oh, Lord. We always joke about, like bottling little kids' energy.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to bottle her energy too.
Yeah. I like
just for everything that, she does, and she's just so upbeat and positive. I wish I could feel like that every day.
Yeah, she's upbeat.
Yeah, but no, it was a good interview. It was a fun interview.
Made me get up and beat it. I'm gonna
edit that part out.
No, don't edit that out, man. Come on, that's gold. So anyway,
there goes our chance of ever having a repeat, guys.
No. So we got big things, Mike. We got big things. This is the last preseason game of the year, and then they all start to count. We got the Lions on Sunday for 4 o'clock. There's a lot of things, Mike, that I think needs to happen. We're going to be cutting down to 53 guys here after this game. I think the main thing one of the main things that really need to happen this week, you just got to let these quarterbacks throw the ball. You got to you can't go all preseason. And I understand the line's going to be the issue, but they really ought to try to cut out a lot of these short passes and do everything they can, because realistically, we haven't seen any, with the exception of maybe a handful, 5 plays. They're not throwing the ball around. They're not, the thing is that they weren't running because they couldn't because of the line, and the quarterbacks run the run. But at some point, these guys got to throw the football. This is preseason, and you're looking at these guys, you're grading these guys, and you're trying to figure out who's going to be your starter. Yeah, we don't know if any of them could throw the ball down the field.
We know Mason can. He had that beautiful pass to George Pickens. So on that alone, I'm saying Mason should be the starter. But no, yeah, you're right. There was that throw, that Mitch passed to Chase in the last game. I think the longest pass I saw from Pickett was that the game-winning touchdown to Tyler Vaughn in the first preseason game. And now there's really been no real deep shots, and like you're saying, I see where you're coming from. You want to see that in the preseason, but do you really want them to sit back there, take a 7-step drop with that offensive line and get hurt in the preseason, or would you rather them get hurt in the regular season? That's kind of how it is right there.
Here's the thing. Realistically, these 3 guys, they're putting up good numbers. But like I'd said in an earlier show, you get to the regular season, it's a whole different beast. It's not guys just standing around watching, who's going to make it, let's try this guy doing this. It's full game plan in 16 days. 16 days we have Cincinnati, and they just come off a Super Bowl, and they would love nothing more than to blow the Steelers out of the water in Cincinnati on the opener with their white helmets. I think that at some point you just got to let the guys. I think if you can't any medium to long passes off this game, we're going to be in huge trouble.
Yeah. And like, even though those couple passes that they did have that were some medium passes, they were under pressure. Mason had a couple under pressure. Mitch was under pressure. God, Kenny, when he had that pass to Muth across the middle, he had a guy right in his face. So
Yeah.
yeah, they might as well just do it now. Let the quarterbacks get used to it. Like, this is what you're going to see for the next 17 games. Good luck, because
And here's the thing with such, it's deceiving because the quarterback, all three of these quarterbacks' numbers look good right now, where that's not reality.
mm-hmm.
You got a guy coming out of college. You got a guy who's struggled off and on for the past couple of years, never really got his shot, and then Mitch, where he hasn't really started in quite some time. So you're telling me these three guys with that pedigree are going to go out and throw perfect numbers, have the highest ratings, have almost perfect completion percentage? It's not reality. They're about to get a large taste of reality in a little over 2 weeks here. And I just think that something has to be done, whether it be this line. Like I said, these guys, they have to be able to throw the ball around so we can see what's going on. I honestly don't think you could take what we've learned from this preseason and make a accurate decision on who your quarterback should be.
You can't. And like you said, like, they're not going to be putting up these kind of numbers in a game, because right now, no defense is game planning for these quarterbacks.
No.
They're trying some stuff out in their scheme, but they're not sitting down going, all right, we know we're going to face Trubisky with this defense. This is how we're going to play against them. We know we're playing Pickett. This is with this grouping of defenders. This is how we're going to play. We know we're going to play Mason with they're not doing that. They're going out there and running their vanilla defense for the most part, trying new things, getting things out there on film that, teams might have to look forward to so they can scheme later and use that as a decoy against the offenses. But yeah, it's once live action starts against Cincinnati, these guys are going to start seeing exotic blitzes, exotic coverages, game planned for them, game planning around that offensive line, game planning around, okay, how are we going to take away Najee? Do we really need to worry about them if, they can't throw the ball? If they can't throw the ball, we're just going to stack the line, because they know this line really is having trouble, not just pass blocking, but run blocking as well. So these quarterbacks could be seeing eight guys in the box being dared to throw, and is this line going to respond to give them the time? And this line's probably worse than last year's offensive line. The last year's offensive line was terrible.
Yeah,
so these quarterbacks are going to struggle, and I don't know. We could start seeing, my worst case scenario, you can start seeing a quarterback carousel this year. All three quarterbacks starting because they're all struggling, and it coming back to the offensive line.
I agree. If they don't come up with some kind of miracle, if they don't come up with some kind of or bring a magician in I don't have an answer.
Yeah. Well,
this offensive line is not only worse than last year's line, this is one of the worst lines I've ever seen, Mike. None of these three guys through 2 games against starters, second team, third teams, guys that are hoping to make the team, they haven't been successful against anybody.
No.
And like you said, you're going to come into a Cincinnati game in a little over 2 weeks, and these guys are going to be prepared. Nobody is more prepared for us than AFC North teams, which we have not after Cincinnati. We got New England, which we'll get back to in a second, and then I think Cleveland. So you're playing AFC teams right off the top who know us better than anybody. The Bengals beat us twice last year. The Browns feel that they have something to prove. And again, New England, they're going to game plan. Say what you want about Tom Brady not being there. Bill Belichick is still there, and he does hold a very, very good record against us. So they have to, like I said, they have to figure something out, and they got to figure it out right now.
And like you were saying, like, you made the crack of saying they can what do they have to do? Bring in a magician. Everyone, all the fans and the media are like, oh, just bring back Munchak. Bring back Munchak. One,
Yeah,
he has like not indicated at all that he wants to come back to Pittsburgh. One, he has to
right.
want to come back. Two, the Steelers have to want to have him come back. And three, when he had that made those damn good offensive lines, he actually had talent to work with. You
Yeah,
had Marquise Pouncey, you had David DeCastro, two solid players. And then you were sprinkling them in with players who were late round draft picks in like Ramon Foster, free agent in Villanueva. But those guys had some semblance of talent.
yeah,
They have more talent than we have right now in our guards and in our tackles. So, he had something to work with. You can be the greatest chef in the world, but you give me chicken poop, you ain't gonna make nothing out of it.
yeah.
These you can't make chicken salad out of chicken scratch. So, uh, you know, you can have the best offensive line coach in the world here, and it's not gonna be that much of an improvement. But hopefully, yes, that's what I feel about the offensive line. But hopefully, this week being called out, they will, especially Kendrick Green, maybe get their act together. Because we talked about it, some players maybe he needed that. Maybe that O line needed that.
Dude,
We'll
I
see.
literally
And if it doesn't work, I don't know. There's literally nothing else you can do except just start grabbing free agents, plugging them in, and seeing what the hell happens. But we go back to like what you said, the cohesion of the offensive line won't be there.
no, no.
And right now they've been Kevin Dotson's been getting first string starts at left guard. So it looks like he might be taking over for Kendrick Green.
I just know that they struggled to this point. If this doesn't get fixed fast, they're going to be in for a world of shit come week one, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Let's go to the wide receivers. I think that we almost I want to see Austin. I want to see Calvin Austin the third, man.
Yeah, I think his foot's finally healed and ready to go.
Is it?
Yeah, I was reading that earlier in the week, and it's like a nagging foot injury.
So he'll be interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
you got this fast guy. They'll probably put him in the slot, and like I said, I mean, given a chance, they could have protection long enough to look around the field
Yeah.
and go through your progressions. I think he'll be very effective. But again, you're coming back to that offensive line, which is it's the Achilles heel, man. I mean, there's
Mhm.
Calvin Austin the third. I just like watching Gunner. I can't wait to see Gunner, what he could do, what he's going to do this weekend. I always, you always want to get a look at Pickens, of course, the veterans. Tight ends also, Mike. You got three tight ends.
Mhm.
Do you think they're going to carry three?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
Which wouldn't be the first time. We're
no, they
well
they
known.
they normally have three, I
Yeah,
think. But I know it's gonna be Muth, Gentry, and Hayward, Connor Hayward.
absolutely.
Oh, Connor Hayward. Yeah, Connor Hayward. Yeah. It's going to be those three. Wide receiver is going to be interesting because you're going to have Deontay, Chase, um, Pickens, Calvin, Gunner. Is that six going to be Tyler Vaughn, or are they going to keep Sims? Sims can do returns, but you also have Gunner's return, so I think Sims becomes expendable, and Tyler Vaughn becomes that camp sensation that becomes the makes the roster.
I'm kind of getting concerned. Like I am. I mean, obviously, you wait all year. You wait
Mm-hmm.
week after week when it gets time for pre. When preseason comes around. But I'm thoroughly concerned. I don't ever remember going into a camp and having this much problems with
Mm-hmm.
the offensive line. It's very just historically, it's un Pittsburgh Steeler like, and I don't know. I like I said, maybe because we haven't really went through this, maybe is why I'm
Mm-hmm.
concerned. But I think there's real reason for concern, man.
I did too, and I don't. We were linked to the it was the tackle from New England and like trade rumors.
Yeah,
New England, they have no problems trading first round players,
right.
but if a first round draft pick is available at this point in training camp, that tends to say a lot about them.
Right.
Because did they get beat out by who did they get beat out by? Why, is this a wasted pick? Do they think they're a wasted pick? Are they trying to shred their bad players to a team? Kind of like how Pittsburgh wants to trade. The fans will always want to trade Mason and Devin Bush. Like, why would a team want them if they're so bad? If you say they're so bad, why
Right.
would they want them? But I don't know. I'm just hoping there's going to be like a couple cap casualty cuts, not
Right.
performance cuts from other teams that we can swoop in and try and sign. I think that's going to be the only way you can fix this offensive line. But we thought, the guard and the center we picked up in free agency were going to be the saviors, and they have not been.
Yeah.
One of them's been okay, the other's been bad, and everyone else has been bad. And Okorafor has been like invisible in a good way,
Right.
which I guess at this point is an improvement for the offensive line. If they're not noticing you, you're doing something good, or at least something average, because everyone else is playing that bad.
Let's put the balls aside. Let's throw the balls to the sideline. Let's hop on defense. Um, I really am excited about Robinson. Um,
Yes.
you're hearing them. I think Vince Williams come out last night and said that he is better than I was, quote,
Mhm.
at that point as a rookie. And that's pretty encouraging,
Yeah.
especially being that he's an inside and we're desperate for an inside. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe that might be the answer to that question. Of course, we're going to see a lot of Bush this weekend. Of course, we're going to see a lot of Spillane, but I think, of course, we're going to see a lot of Robinson as well. And maybe, just maybe, he could be the one that turns out and shows up and earns that position. We could be a little bit more at ease. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, he doesn't have he's not a veteran; he's a rookie. So, I mean, the the experience isn't going to be there, but maybe playing alongside Jackson, in between Jackson Watt, that could kind of lighten that load a little bit for him. And he could just go out and be physical and play defense and be reactive and learn while he's doing it. I'm very excited about Robinson. He's really stepped up his game, and you know what? I've really not heard anything bad about this guy.
Me either. And he's only been playing the position for a year. He was a running
Yeah,
back in college, switched over to get playing time, and
he's a crazy athlete.
yeah, and he's showing that instinct, that nose for the ball,
Yeah,
and the willingness to go in there. And hey, like he was showing like the patience and the anticipation to hit holes and how to shed blocks too. And
absolutely.
that's huge. Especially, he is kind of like undersized, but he's not afraid and to get in there. And I'm intrigued by him.
Yeah, me too.
He's a what, sixth, seventh round pick. If he makes the team and can contribute in a starting role or even like a rotation role, which I fear that might be what goes on there. They might rotate the linebackers,
Right.
the three on that side,
I think
or
just because
three next to Jacks. I can see
and I think just
him.
because he's a rookie, it's gonna go that way. You know what I mean? Unless
Yeah.
unless he really comes up and just blows up and
Uh-huh.
but that rarely happens. We'll see. I
Mhm.
mean, only time will tell. But you're right. You're probably gonna get that carousel of linebackers playing that spot for at least for some on Sunday.
Yeah, this
I think
Sunday definitely.
definitely Sunday for sure. I mean, that's going to give us a chance also to look at them. But like I said, man, we are only 16 days away,
Mhm.
16 days away from the Steelers opening game of 2022-2023, man.
Like, one thing I can think that can help that linebacking core is I'm slowly talking myself into, like, we might have a better defensive line than we're thinking. Because right now we haven't seen all the guys out there
Yeah,
starting at once.
I know.
And I think, once you get Cam back and then you put him next to, I'm gonna butcher his name, I do it every week, Ogunboju, guy from Cincinnati.
Yeah,
And then I think if you put Wormley on the other side, I think those three right there, I just I would be comfortable with those three as starters. Then you have Oluwalu who can play inside and outside. You have
Right.
Montravius Adams who can play inside, and then you have your other spot between like the Davis brothers and Loudermilk competing for that other end spot. I'm I'm starting to talk myself into being there more depth than there is.
I would love, I would love to agree with you, but you know what?
I know.
I think the proof is in the pudding. Let's see Sunday how the how these secondary guys, these guys like your Loudermilk, guys that are your depth. Let's see how they stop the
Mhm.
Detroit Lions in the third quarter. Let's see how they stop the Detroit Lions in the fourth quarter. Yes, the Lions are a bit of an improved team, but again, third and fourth stringers, you shouldn't be getting blown up like that. They shouldn't be,
Mhm.
carrying off 19-yard runs against you. Those players should be showing some kind of promise at that point in the game.
Yeah.
That's the part that scares me.
Me too. I just wanna I'm more interested in that first team D line starts.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Olu. I can't wait to see
I
Cam.
Because I think
I
they're
can't
all
wait to see
playing.
all
I
them
think.
guys. I think that is that they will be successful, but at what point are you beating these guys in the ground? You have to use
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to, So it's going to be. This is a very telling preseason. You're learning a lot. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. We're learning a lot about this team this year, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe ignorance is bliss, and we
Yeah.
should have just not paid attention and went into the season. And you know, but here's another one. The secondary now. The secondary, we're going to come bump back a layer. I legitimately don't see any problems. I mean, you're not going to be perfect. You are going to lose
Mhm.
battles every once in a while. So when it comes down to it, this secondary is pretty primed to get out there and play regular season. I think the secondary is ready.
I think so too. If Akila Witherspoon plays the way he did
Yeah,
like those that last handful of games that he actually started and was shutting down pretty good receivers. If he can keep
yeah,
that trend going, that's good right there. Levi Wallace and Cam Sutton on the other outside and in the slot, because Cam Sutton can play outside and inside. I'm comfortable with those three. And then with the play of Trey Norwood, he can play. Last year they had him line up safety and corner.
yeah.
Justin Lane, is he ready in his fourth year to make that next step? And then the Edmonds, the way he's been playing in run support this year in the yes, it's only preseason, but he's carried this over from the last half of the season too. And
He's showing his knowledge for the game. He shows his
yeah,
experience.
like you were saying, his experience. I think him and Minka last year, they figured out how to play together. And
Yeah,
like Edmonds has learned to like, hey, I don't have like trust the way I can play, do what I need to do, and Minka will be there.
right.
And Minka is like last year, he tried to cover up for everyone. And hopefully and like the latter part of the season, he just started to play like within himself and taking calculated chances instead of trying to cover up for all the bad mistakes. And you saw like once we started playing Witherspoon more, those mistakes went away. And then Minka was able to he didn't have to worry about blown coverages from corners. So hopefully it's rounding into form. Are they a great secondary? No. Are they above average secondary? Yeah.
I think we're going to learn a lot. I think the secondary is going to learn a lot about themselves in week one
Oh yeah.
when you're facing
Oh
these
yeah.
receivers with Cincinnati. I think one of two things are going to happen. We're going to be semi-successful and build confidence because of
Uh-huh.
we're able to be semi-successful with those three
Yeah.
particular receivers. But there's also the possibility that we get exposed
Yeah.
with that situation, which
Hmm.
I think that that could be pretty damning early in the season, considering that we have offensive issues as well.
Yeah. And people like Steeler fans want to talk about our receiving core. Y- I To me, Cincinnati's receiving core is better.
They have a proven pedigree. Every one of
Jamar
them,
Chase is as a rookie was one of the best receivers in the league.
he has the most receiving yards by a rookie ever, dude. And
Yeah.
Tyler, these guys have a pedigree. This
Mhm.
isn't like, you know what, the Steelers got really good receivers. We got a Deontay Johnson. We got Cole. Those guys haven't done anything. What is so as good as you think that our receivers are, these guys over here must be fucking great because, like I said, they actually go out and prove it every year.
Yeah, like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, excuse me. I'd said one of the best trios in the league.
And then you got to hope Joe Mixon doesn't
Doesn't
doesn't have a good game coming out of the backfield. You know what?
Yeah.
We're our guest will be here shortly, so let me just cover one more position and then we'll get ready for him to come in here. The special teams, Mike. I don't know if you've seen the kick by Harvin the other night on the free kick. Good Lord. If there was any doubt about this guy's kicking ability,
Mm-hmm.
I think he went about 70 yards, man.
I think it was like 72, 76, maybe something like that.
Even that
Insane.
returner was shocked,
Yeah.
you know?
Everyone was shocked. And I think, I think this year is the year Harvin proves why we drafted him. Last year he had a lot of family issues going on that he had to deal with. A lot of deaths
Yeah.
in his family, and that's going to weigh on you. That's going to affect anyone's work. And I think I think this year he has that bounce back year, and we're going to have one of the best punters and one of the best kickers in the league, and I think we're going to need him this year.
I do too. And of course, Skyba got cut the other day, so we will be seeing Boswell
Mm-hmm.
all night or all afternoon on Sunday. So there you have it. I mean, that's my take. I don't know if it's a good take. I don't know if it's good things. I just know that this is the way that I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope some things that I'm wrong. Unfortunately, I think some things that we hope that we're wrong on aren't going to be wrong. But we do have one more game here in 2 days, and we're going to be able to look at all those things. And then after that, my man, it's just a countdown. It's countdown to opening day. So, yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I can't wait. That's all I was going to say. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. You know what, everybody? We have a great guest today. You'll recognize him if you ever been on YouTube and wanted to watch a stream. You can't get the game on your cable. You're not around a television, and you're like, how the hell am I going to watch the Steelers? You just can't figure it out. And you go to YouTube, and there's people. This guy is one of the best. He's my favorite. Troxel Sports Streaming is the name of his show, and at this point of the year, it's Troxel's Football Streaming. So check him out if you haven't already. Hey, people love him. People love what he does, and you know what? I'm no exception to that. So everybody, sit tight. We're gonna do a little magic right now. We're gonna do a little magic, and when we come back, our guest will be here with us. Ready? And hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Two Dum Yinzers. We have a really, really special guest this morning. If you've ever been in situations like I have, where you need to watch the game and you're at work, or with the kids doing whatever, and you flip to YouTube and you say, you know what, let me see if there's anybody streaming. You will always find the gentleman beneath me. You'll notice there's a gentleman beneath me, and this he is very good at what he does. I don't know how many times that I've had to turn to him because I was just in a situation where I couldn't sit down in front of the television. But I'm gonna introduce you to the gentleman below us. His name is Trox. He is the host of Troxel Sports Streams, and right now I believe it's Troxel's Football Streams. But that does switch over time because he does do basketball, he does college sports, he does it all. And like I said, I see the people chatting with him and the people that's viewing him. So I know a lot of you guys out there know who this is. We'd like to welcome you today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you guys for having me on. I actually launched another channel, Troxel's basketball stream. So I'm going to be taking the basketball streams to a different channel and keeping Troxel's football streams just strictly football.
Nice.
I like that.
Are you ready for football season, Trox?
Oh, absolutely.
We've been itching since March. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. As soon as that draft came around, I was just like, yeah, I got that itch again.
Yeah, that's my favorite time of the year is draft year. My fantasy GM in me comes out, and I eat it up. Every fantasy or every mock draft I can find, I read. Doesn't matter how ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't wait.
Now you might notice something strange about Trucks. Take a look at him really closely, and you'll notice his Lions hat, which we aren't against that here. I'm very accepting of the Lions. I do. I mean, who didn't like Barry Sanders and Herman Moore and the whole list? So he actually is from Michigan. Trucks is from Michigan, and he stopped today to talk to us a little sports. Now, the great thing about this is the timing couldn't have been any better because everybody knows this weekend, I believe roughly around 4:00 p.m. on Sunday, we had the final preseason match of the preseason for the Steelers, at least, and we played the Detroit Lions. Trucks, what and it's preseason, I get that, but how you feeling about this game, man?
Oh man. Coming off our first preseason win in 8 tries, I'm feeling a little bit better. As those losses kept coming on and kept coming on and kept coming on, I'm like, well, it's preseason. Wins and losses doesn't really matter. It's about, development and seeing who wants to fight for a 53-man roster spot. But as you guys know, the Detroit Lions are on Hard Knocks, and last night's episode was really based on winning is everything. It does start in the preseason, getting that win off your back to where you're like, okay, hey, look, we have that win. Let's carry that momentum on to next week and so on and so forth, so that when the regular season comes and that I call it the real season, because we only get 17 games. So, every game matters. So getting that first preseason win, it's going to help us going into the 2022 season. So heading into this matchup, now I know the last year during the regular season, we had that crazy game that ended in a tie that it felt like nobody wanted to win and everybody was trying to give each other the win.
Yes. I tell you what, we'll come back to that game in just a moment. Now you were just talking about the early success so far in preseason, and you could really stretch it back to the week before because you guys were this close to winning 2 weeks ago. You won last night, or this past weekend, and what, you gotta like the direction the Lions are heading in.
Oh, absolutely. I think Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell has really done a really good job turning that franchise around because previous regimes, they try to do the Patriot way, they try to do this different way, that different way, and it all starts in the front office. We never had a football mind. Brad Holmes comes from the Los Angeles Rams, so he has like that football background. He was, the scouting guy with the Rams. He's the one who drafted Aaron Donald and traded up for our new quarterback in Jared Goff. He told, their general manager, hey, look, if there's one guy to trade up for, it's Jared Goff. Jared Goff is Brad Holmes's guy. Yeah. And, so he comes from that football background, and that's something that is new to us, having that in our front office.
And
now, let me ask you.
Let me step in real quick. Dan Campbell. Now, last season, I thought this guy was just a crazy person. Now, watching Hard Knocks, and it's confirmed he's a crazy person, but he's that good kind of crazy that you want as a football coach, and how he's just like, normally, like, people like that I would tune out, but every time this guy talks, you're like invested.
Yeah.
Not just because he's talking crazy, but he's making sense in the way he talks to people. And I just love it.
Absolutely. You know who he does remind me of? He kind of reminds me of your guys' head coach and Mike Tomlin. Like, he sometimes is a little out there, but then you kind of understand him because he's going to relate to your players.
Absolutely.
And I like it, like Dan Campbell. He said, I think it's an advantage if the other teams think I'm stupid or think I'm crazy, because they're going to underestimate us.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's becoming one of my favorite coaches in the league.
Now you mentioned Trox. I mean, these guys are happy with your quarterback situation. Now, a year removed, would you rather have Matt Stafford back?
I never really wanted Matt Stafford to leave. Yeah. But I understood why he left. It seems like we always kept giving him an offensive coordinator or a new head coach or a new general manager, but never addressed what was most important to winning football games, and that's the offensive line. And then after the offensive line, it's a run game. Matthew Stafford has never really played with an elite run game like he has over there with the Los Angeles Rams, and I feel like that's one of the key aspects of why they won the Super Bowl last year.
Absolutely,
And
man.
speaking of offensive line, we're seeing that here in Pittsburgh, like how
Yeah.
bad an
time.
offensive line, and you have like all three quarterbacks running for their life so far in preseason, and you have an elite running back. You probably have like an upper echelon wide receiving core, a budding receiving core, and that line's not there. You're in for a long season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I always say your offensive line and your defensive line is what's going to make your entire franchise.
Absolutely.
You know, games are won and losses in the trenches. So if you don't have a good offensive line and a good defensive line, your linebackers are going to be out of place. Your corners are going to be out of place. Your safeties and so forth with the offense. You know, your quarterback's going to be out of place. And if your quarterback's out of place, good luck trying to get a run game going. Good luck trying to pass it to your wide receivers or tight ends.
Yeah,
And that's where we're at right now. I mean, all week long, we've talked about the trenches, how important these positions are, the interior line. Excuse me. Now, let me ask you, Trox, from the outside looking in. I mean, we're here in Pittsburgh. We hear the media here all the time. You know, what's your take on the Steelers overall this year? I mean, how do people perceive this team from the outside?
Well, good job to kind of translate into this because I am a Steeler fan as
Yes,
well.
he is.
So,
And he's a well-known Steeler fan. This is no surprise.
so, I mean, on the outside looking in, and also being like in a different state, looking onto your other team.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, we got to make moves in order to get your rookie quarterback and Kenny Pickett out there. I mean, obviously, I'm not looking for Kenny to be out there like right away. It's going to be Mitch Trubisky's era until, you know, at least until next year. But this year, let's see who wants to be that dog up front.
Yeah.
Who wants that job? You know, these guys, they got to claw, they got to fight, you know, each and every single week. But if they're not, we don't need you. I mean, 7 Super Bowls. Well, quest for 7. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The quest for 7. So it's like you gotta want to be in Pittsburgh.
Right.
You know, tied with I feel like this should never been a thing, but tied with the Steelers in Super Bowls. You know, when you look at New England,
yeah,
you know, why was Tom Brady so you know, potent? Well, he had guys up front. You know, if you look at the early Big Ben Roethlisberger era, you know, when we had Jerome Bettis and you know, and then the second championship back in what
2009.
Yeah, 2009. That was the year right before Charles Woodson with the Packers.
Yeah,
it was 2009, and that was against my other team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
So I mean, talk about a torn Super Bowl. I was like, oh man,
right.
You know, but if you look at those teams, what did they have? Their trenches were unguardable. You could not penetrate that offensive line and defensive line, and if you did, good luck, because you got the linebackers or the running backs that are going to run down your throats.
Absolutely.
And then that opens up for Big Ben to throw it to whoever and wherever, you know.
It's definitely, you know, this is something I've been saying for the past 5 to 10 years, give or take. People in Pittsburgh, I mean, there's a generation. There's a generation of fans that are watching that never had football without Ben. Ben has been there, you know, I mean, guys that are 20 years old. He's been in the league 18 years. So, you know, and I've been preaching this to people. There's going to be life after Ben, believe it or not. And, and we're experiencing it now. And I got to say, I mean, we've had some pretty rough quarterback competitions prior to Ben, but you know what? I feel decent about this. The 3 guys all the way from the top to bottom, they performed well in the preseason. Like you said, it's ultimately going to be the offensive line that is going to dictate how the season goes.
Oh yeah.
But you know, this is new territory, which takes me to the next question. I kind of wanted to do this without skipping a break or without taking a break. What did you think a week and a half ago when people started linking the name Mason Rudolph to possibly be going to Detroit?
Now at first I'm like, okay, I know as a Steeler fan, I want to get rid of Mason. Because real talk, he's never been the same after that hit by Myles Garrett. Right. I don't know if it just took, you know, his confidence out or what, but he really has not been the same. I mean, post hit in the head with the helmet.
Yeah.
he's like, okay, am I sure to throw it? Am I sure to give it to my running back? But pre hit to the head, man, he was like, I don't care, I'm going to throw it, or I don't care, I'm going to give it to my running back. I mean, yeah, was it sometimes the best move? It was questionable, but I mean, he still had a little bit of confidence in his game. Now it's like I feel like he doesn't have confidence. I don't know if it's just he's falling out of favor or what, but he's gonna have to get that confidence. But from a Detroit Lions aspect, I did not want him. I'm just like, we kind of have our guys. Is Mason an upgrade over Tim Boyle or David Blau? Possible. I know, we love to pluck guys from the AFC North. Obviously, we got David Blau with the 7th round pick to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
But I don't see this regime going after Mason just because it's like we don't really have a need for him. But maybe with this Seattle Seahawks, or other teams that might be, hey, look, we might need a starter or we might need a backup, that could be an option for them.
And every team likes to think that they're the one who's going to be able to fix any given player.
Yeah.
Like we know something that they don't know. And I've never really been a big Mason Rudolph fan, but I actually think he from last year to this year, I think he improved. Just on that touchdown pass alone in that first game to Pickens in the end zone. That was a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
And then last week in the fourth quarter, it's fourth quarter, you're playing against backups, but he moved them down the field. He seemed to get more and more comfortable.
He looks more confident.
So I think if he gets more reps, I think that confidence will come back. And not being able to get reps behind Ben in game situations, when you're stuck behind a Hall of Famer, it's kind of rough.
Exactly.
It's like you said, is that confidence there, or is it just not there? And you really can't tell until he plays more. And it's going to be hard for him to shake that stigma of being shook.
Yeah.
Too. We saw that it took David Carr for how long?
Oh yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, he's throwing to ghost. It took him a couple years to bounce back from that.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh no, I was just going to be like, I'm kind of pulling for him because I feel like Pittsburgh is actually the perfect spot for him. I mean, you look at Mike Tomlin, you could give him a turd and he's at least going to make it a good turd.
Yeah.
He improves the roster.
Yeah. He finds a way every year to get them close to making the playoffs every year. So
now you are a sports mind and you are a Steelers fan. So I just want to rewind a little bit. We were talking about Myles Garrett and that incident with Mason Rudolph. Let me ask you, Trox. In my opinion, he went outside the game of football when he did that.
Yes.
He tore the guy's helmet off, and then he took and fully swung as a full-grown athlete, taking a swing at another man with an object in his hand. Do you think that should have been a little bit more should have came of that from that situation?
110%. When you go outside of the game of football, I mean, I'm all for pushing and shoving and getting in guys' faces. The nastier, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when you go outside the game of football and you rip another man's helmet off and you whack him across the head with it, that's uncalled for. That's unsportsmanlike. You should at least be gone for half the season.
Yes.
If not the entire season.
I'm not speaking as a Steeler fan. I'm just talking as a fan of sports in general. If that happened somewhere else, I would have the same opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, that could happen with the Packers and I don't know, whoever. The Packers are my arch rivals, but it doesn't matter. Like when you go outside of the game of football, there's absolutely no tolerance.
I agree. The sport's great. Let's keep it great,
Absolutely.
Now, I want to go back a little bit, Trox. We spoke a little bit about the tie. That's what we refer to as the tie here in Pittsburgh. Now, I've made this point, excuse me, a numerous amount of times on our show. I don't like playing Detroit. And the reason being, let me explain to you why. In 95-96, first game of the year, we went to the Super Bowl that year. Rod Woodson blew his knee in a 23-20 win over Detroit at home. In 1998, the coin toss.
Yep, the infamous coin toss.
He called heads. And
last season with the tie, I personally don't like playing you guys. Something always happens. Something always happens. And it was a miracle that Rod Woodson was able to play in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And like I said, we lost that coin game. I'm pretty sure that was a Thanksgiving Day game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But something always happens when we play the Detroit Lions. And you know what? when you're trying to be competitive and stay in the race in the division, I don't like them kind of games.
Oh yeah. But in the same retrospect though, you kind of should like those games because that's going to gear you up for a big time game, late in December or January, even February, because you got to go through a dogfight in order to overcome that.
Yeah. I tell you what I do. I respect the Lions. I think what they have is cool. We have had a conversation this week, and and like I said, Pittsburghers, people from Western Pennsylvania really learned a lot about the Detroit culture and the sporting minds because the year of Super Bowl 40, we learned a lot about Ford Field. We learned a lot about Jerome Bettis's growing up life. We learned a lot about the fans up there that do support the Steelers. And since then, 2005, 2006, I thought, well, that's pretty awesome. I have nothing bad there on the other side of the league in the NFC North. I kind of like the Lions.
Absolutely. And something, and that's kind of one thing that got me becoming a Steeler fan is there's a lot of Steeler fans in Michigan, going all the way up from the Upper Peninsula on down. Like, there is a lot of fans. Like, if that game was in Detroit, like, it'd probably be sold out with a lot of Steeler fans. Because it's almost predominantly Steeler fans in Michigan, outside of the diehard Lion fans. Oh yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Steelers take over in like Jacksonville, San Diego game with like the Michael Vick, Le'Veon Bell game. It was like 90% Steeler fans. We're like cockroaches. We're everywhere.
Hey, but that's good though. Like,
it's fun. It makes the sport and the game fun.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Swap a little bit. You guys tend to like the Steelers. I tend to like the Tigers. We over the years we've had Jim Leland all the way down the list. We'd have a bunch of guys go up there. I follow the Tigers, but Trucks, the one that we are gonna bump heads on is the back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals 08, 09, Pittsburgh Penguins, Detroit Red Wings splitting the series.
Hey,
wow, was that some really good hockey or what?
Hey, can I play a soundbite real quick?
Please do.
Oh my God!
Not that back-to-back. Because oh man, I thought we were gonna go back-to-back that year because I was just like, just the way things were going, and then going off of the previous season when we did win the Stanley Cup, and it was just like, okay, I feel confident. And then as soon as the puck dropped, it was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It was Sidney Crosby all the way. Him and Malkin were just, they were unstoppable that series.
Absolutely.
And then like, who would have thought like the unsung hero of Game 7, Max Talbot?
So
like only if like a diehard hockey fan would know outside of like Pittsburgh. It's like
I remember like on that game 2-1. I think that Game 7 in the second year.
It was. I think it was
2-1.
Yeah, because I was getting to the point where I was tired. I needed to go to bed. I'm starting naming off Red Wings that I would be okay to score against me. Like I could. All right, Larry got enough scores. I'm all right.
I tell you what, though, that Red Wings team made the Penguins play on a level, Trucks, that I never seen them play prior to that series. Yeah. They came out, they were flying, they were hitting on all cylinders. And you know what? We've seen Malkin and Crosby a couple years prior to that, obviously, but that was the first time I seen the team hit that level.
Oh yeah. And I think a lot of that did come from the previous year. Like they remember that sting of going to the Stanley Cup Finals and not walking away with the Stanley Cup championship. When you go to the peak of the mountaintop and you don't put your flag on that top of the summit, it's like it just stings like nothing else. So I feel like once they got to the finals and they seen, it's against the Red Wings, they're like, I remember that from last year. Right. And last year we were feeling good and we got our teeth kicked in. And then Here we get a rematch. Oh, we're not going to feel that same feeling. And I think
It
that's what
almost
kind of
feels like it was beneficial that we had the Red Wings again.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And like the Penguins, they sat there and watched the whole celebration. So they just absorbed that, like you were saying, that we're so close.
Yeah.
We want that to be us.
One of these years, it's going to be nice to win one at home. We still have not won a Stanley Cup championship at home, Trox, in the history of the Penguins.
Ouch.
5 cups and
5 cups all on the road. But
just,
hey, you'll take
that's like the Lions. Hey, we'll one day get to the Super Bowl, just one before I die.
Yes.
Hopefully.
It's probably the same year that the Pirates are going to win the World Series.
Don't curse both of us.
I know.
Okay. That's just rude.
One thing that we do, though, one difference that we have, we do not have an NBA team. So whenever you start talking about the Pistons and having your basketball talk, I do tune in because we just lack that here. And you know, a lot of people in Western PA love hoops, man.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, I wish that you guys had another team. You know, obviously you guys are you know, you got the Philadelphia 76ers, but you know, what about those guys up you know, in Western PA and things like that, where you know they got to drive out to Philadelphia now to go to a basketball game.
And the Cleveland's only about an hour and 45 minutes. So if you want to, you want to deal with that village, you know, we can always go.
But I mean, do you really want to go to Cleveland out of all places?
No, not at all.
I mean, that's a division rival now.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. But you know what? For the sake of the sport, I do love basketball. I've made that trek many times up to Cleveland. I really enjoy it. There's not quite much like a NBA basketball game.
Yeah.
So I mean, for that reason, I do. But do I enjoy it entirely? No, I don't.
Yeah, well, I think once you guys get a Pittsburgh team, I think you know, the hoops will come a little bit better, because then you'll be able to, you know, go to games, go to practice facilities and things like that, you know, to try to really get the lowdown on your favorite team. So
I would really love to do that. Just any given night you get off of work, you're like, let's go down and watch an NBA game. You know, if we decide we want to do that, it's gonna be a whole day. You got to plan the day out. Trip home, the drive. So yeah, I mean that's definitely something that we're missing out here in Western PA, because we, you know, like I said, a lot of people love basketball, man. You know,
Lakers, go Lakers.
Oh, again with these Lakers.
Hey,
I grew up with
that's a rival right there.
I know. I grew up watching Bird versus Magic versus Isaiah Thomas. I was always the Showtime Lakers.
Oh, that team with Isaiah and Rodman.
I was like 8. I was a front runner. What did I know?
Oh yeah.
You know how it is.
Joe Dumars, Billy Lambier, beastie, man, beastie.
Oh yeah, but you know, it's, you know, those matchups with Boston and matchups with the Lakers that really molded us into being that world champion back-to-back seasons.
And that's what a lot of people forget. Before Jordan basically took over the world, it was all Pistons for a couple years at least.
Oh yeah, and you know, if we would have found out that we were inside Jordan's head, I think Jordan would have never been the player he was.
I agree.
Because we were inside of his head. He could not shake us.
The Detroit Pistons are the only thing that I've ever known that's been inside of Jordan's head. You think about it, you know?
Yeah.
Good.
I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're the guest. I'm rude.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I just feel like that. I think that's the only team that I ever get into inside Jordan's head.
I agree. I agree.
So much to where he did not want Isaiah Thomas on the Dream Team.
Yeah.
That's
true. That was a bitter rivalry right there.
Wasn't John Daly the coach on that Dream Team?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay. I don't keep you too much longer, Trucks, but I cannot let you go without getting some predictions here, bud. We got listen, I got a couple I want to give you. So who is your pick for the Steelers quarterback opening day?
I'm gonna say Mitch Trubisky. Don't rush Kenny Pickett. Let him develop into the proper guy, and that gives you also some leeway to build the roster around him. But I think day one and year one, it needs to be Mitch Trubisky. Now, a lot of people give Mitch Trubisky a bad rap because of his time in Chicago. I seen him in preseason with the Buffalo Bills, and I seen a totally different quarterback, a quarterback that actually knew how to play the game. So when I seen him go to Pittsburgh, I said, you know what? Worst case scenario, we got Kenny Pickens back up
Right.
with Mitch Trubisky. Best case scenario, we have somebody that can start year one, and I'm not too worried about.
Right.
Because a lot of Mitch Trubisky's, downfall, sort of say, came from Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy was, I feel, one of the worst coaches in NFL history. I called him the Matt Patricia 2.0.
And
That's
here's
a
the
fair
thing, Trox,
comparison.
from the NFC North, you do know Mitch Trubisky. See, here's my take. I never thought he was terrible. I thought he was good out of college. He was a high draft pick. He took the Chicago Bears to the playoffs two times. He put up good numbers in Chicago, which quarterbacks generally don't do.
Exactly.
I'm in favor of Mitch, and I'm basically right where you're at as far as the pecking order. I'm happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Next prediction. Where do you think the Lions are going to land basically with an overall record this year, give or take? Where are you at? Are they going to be middle of the pack? You think they're going to make a good run this year? Where are you at with that, Trox?
Okay, with the Lions, I feel like they are a dark horse to make the postseason. Because I think a lot of teams are going to underestimate us, and we have the third easiest schedule in the National Football League. So with what we're trying to do this year and with the schedule, I feel like if things go right, like if we're right around 500 come like week 7, week 8, and we start getting our guys back, like our number, what was he, number 13th overall? And Jameson Williams, if we get him back, our second round pick, and Josh Pascal back, if we start getting our guys back and we're right around 3-3 or 3-4 or 4-3 or somewhere around there by week 7, where we play the Dolphins at home.
Yeah.
I mean, we could really go on a run, so I feel like we're a dark horse for the postseason. But worst case, I feel like we're going to be right around that 500 mark.
Okay.
And, I've been saying, 2023 is the year of the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
You got to take steps in order to get to winning football.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Trucks, the most important question of all. This is the most important question you're ever going to answer. Ever. Give me your prediction for this Sunday's game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Detroit Lions.
Okay, that is probably the hardest question. I mean, because am I my Steeler fan, or am I the Simba Lion fan?
Right.
And for you guys that don't know, I always carry around Simba.
I
love it.
Grown-up version of Simba. But the prediction for this game. Well, good luck, because there is no ties in the preseason. So at least we can throw that out.
Yep.
That's true.
But I will say this. If we can run the football, I'll give the Lions a 3-point edge. But if we can't, I'm going to give the Steelers a 7-point edge.
Okay. Fair enough, Mike. What about you?
Well, going by his logic, if Detroit can run, and I think they can against the way the defensive line's going, and it's being the last game, the Steelers already won 2, and they're just gonna be throwing a lot of people out there just to see what's going on. I can see Detroit winning.
In my opinion, it really does pair with both you guys, because I think it comes down to the Lions' ability to run and the Steelers' defensive line depth. The depth has been bad. It's been bad as long as Alualu, Cam, these guys are in. That's one thing. However, it's preseason. You're going to see a lot of these other guys. I'm going to give Detroit the win on this. In this game, it's just such a crazy game. Last preseason, there's so many things going on. You really can't make a accurate prediction. But I'm going to say Detroit, because we've already won 2. We just never win all of our preseason games. It just doesn't happen. I'll say the Lions by 8-10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But hey, I do want to say thank you so much, Trox. I know you got things going on. We got some stuff here. We want to thank you so much for stopping by, my man. I've been wanting to talk to you forever. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is dated back from last season. So
yes. And you know that we're big time fans. I will be tuning in as much. Like I said, I'm usually in a situation where that's what it comes down to, watching the game on my phone. And I couldn't enjoy it more, my man. We love the show. Again, Troxel Sports Streams. Now it's Troxel Football Streams, but he will be separating, going different ways with that. Do you have anything before we take off today, sir?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me, it's on Twitter. There's at 30 Troxel 87. That's my Twitter handle. I have Detroit footballs, or I'm sorry, I have Detroit Lions Pride. I have Detroit Pistons Hustle, Troxel's basketball streams, and Troxel's football streams on YouTube. And hey, if you get into the channel and say what's up, I'll say what's up back. I always try to be engaged with the community. And I appreciate, Dum Yinzers to put me on the channel. And let's have some fun this season.
All right.
Anytime, Trox.
Anytime. It's a blast, man.
We will continue to support. We will continue to
Yes.
follow. We do love your shows. We thank you so much. And hey, everybody, for the two Dum Yinzers, Ryan, Mike, and Trox, we'll see you next time.
See ya.